Good evening. This is Dr. Aparna. I am your emotional healing synergist. I am an Ayurvedic psychotherapist, a passionate infopreneur, medical writer, and now a budding YouTuber. In my pursuit to address, promote, and propagate Ayurveda and psychotherapy globally, I come up with discussions every week, either on Ayurveda or mental health or psychotherapy and related aspects. In continuation to my emotional metamorphosis series, I am doing a book review on emotional intelligence by Daniel Goleman. We have completed the first session wherein we discussed about what is actually emotional intelligence, what is the idea of the author, and what are the reasons why we should read this book, and what are the key components of emotional intelligence. Or you can refer to the previous session in LinkedIn and YouTube as well. The links, if you want, will be provided in the description. And without wasting time, just to brush it up, see the highlights of the concepts we discussed yesterday. So we discussed, the brain and the emotions. So the book explores the neural basis of emotions and how they influence our thoughts, behavior, and decision making. And key components of emotional intelligence. That is, Goleman, the author, identifies five key components of emotional intelligence. That is self awareness, self management, motivation, empathy, and social skills. So, all these five concepts are discussed with examples in the previous session. The next concept we discussed yesterday is emotional literacy. So, what is emotional literacy? Understanding and identifying your own emotions and those of others is crucial for effective communication and building meaningful relationships. So, understanding and identifying, our own emotions, why, in order to build effective communication and meaningful relationships. Developing of emotional intelligence. So the book offers practical exercises and strategies for improving your emotional intelligence skills through self reflection, mindfulness practices, and interpersonal communication techniques. So developing emotional intelligence. So how to develop emotional intelligence is also, the practical exercises and strategies to improve emotional intelligence is also discussed in this book. How? Through self reflection, through mindfulness practices, and mindfully being aware of your emotions, analyzing your emotions, and giving thoughtful and reacting thoughtfully. So, and interpersonal communication techniques as well are discussed in the book. So, see, we discussed yesterday about IQ, that is intelligence quotient. And intelligence quotient is only 20% responsible for our success. This is scientifically proven, and intelligence quotient is fixed at birth. But here, emotional intelligence can be developed, by practice. So emotional intelligence, emotionally intelligent person is 80% more, has 80% more chances to be successful than an intelligent, than a person who has a more IQ, intelligence quotient. So here, Otherwise, it could also be interpreted as emotional intelligence is also equally important, if not more, as IQ for success in life. So, emotions matter. The book says one of the key takeaways here we are discussing is emotions matter. So, why do emotions matter? Emotions play a significant role in decision making and relationships, and acknowledging them is the key to success. See, we discussed yesterday the anger, the frustration, all the emotions. If we, acknowledge the emotions and take lessons from them, and next time react, respond thoughtfully, that is the key to success. So practice makes perfect here, so that also we discussed yesterday, that emotional intelligence can be cultivated and improved over time with consistent practice and self reflection. IQ cannot be improved over time, but EQ, the emotional quotient, can be improved and can be cultivated with consistent practice and self reflection. So, balanced emotional life. So, strive for balance in emotional responses. The author says that leveraging emotions positively rather than being controlled by them, rather than being controlled by your emotions. Oh, I was angry, so I reacted in that way. Even though you're angry, you're realizing the anger, and then you're leveraging the anger to, react thoughtfully or respond thoughtfully and positively. You're not being controlled by your emotion, you are leveraging emotion positively. That is emotional intelligence. So empathy, here they discuss, the author discusses about the empathy is, powerful. So, empathy strengthens connections and is crucial skill in understanding others' perspective. It is not only analyzing and understanding and managing your emotions. If you have to succeed, you have to be able to manage, understand others' perspective as well. So you have to be empathetic, the author says. Then the continuous growth, because emotional intelligence is not a static. It evolves with learning, experience, and conscious effort. You have to put all your conscious effort to be emotionally intelligent. So, Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman serves as a comprehensive guide to, that which offers us insights and strategies, to harness emotional intelligence for our personal and professional growth. So, emotional intelligence, as I said, can be learned, improved with effort and practice. By improving your emotional intelligence, you can unlock immense personal and professional potential. So, emotional intelligence is not just about managing your own emotions, it is also about understanding and connecting with others. Developing emotional intelligence is an ongoing journey, and the rewards are well worth the effort. Increased resilience, so, and adaptability in challenge situations. What do we achieve, through emotional intelligence? So we have the increased resilience, and we are adaptable to the challenging situations. So improved mental and physical health, enhanced creativity and problem solving skills, so greater confidence and self esteem. So overall, the Emotional Intelligence book by Daniel Goleman is a transformative book. Next, the chapter wise book summary. These are all the reasons to read, the key takeaways, the highlights of the concepts, and what are the advantages of emotional intelligence. So, Introduction. How does the author introduce? See, first is the introduction to emotional intelligence. Here, the author introduces the concept of emotional intelligence, emphasizing its importance in professional and personal, success. So, emotional intelligence involves what it involves is recognizing, understanding, managing our emotions effectively. So, both in oneself and in others, you not only recognize, understand, and manage your emotions, you also tend to understand, recognize, understand, and manage others' emotions. You show empathy. So, what happens is it fosters, it improves the relationships, and you can make better decisions. So, it helps in decision making as well. So, example, here self awareness means recognizing how one's emotions impact decision making. Next is empathy. So, next example is empathy. So, understanding a colleague's stress and offering support. You understand that you recognize that your colleague is stressed due to excessive work. You understand that and you offer support. That in a way is empathy. So, that is emotional intelligence. So the next, the author explains part 1, that is the emotional brain. That means understanding the emotional brain. If you have followed the yesterday's, the previous session, I talked about two types of brain. One is the rational brain and another one is the emotional brain. So here we are the emotional brain, we are understanding the emotional brain here. Rational brain means it is the center for logic, reasoning, analyzing, all that we do, that is in the rational brain, that is in the prefrontal cortex. This we are talking about is emotional brain. So we are understanding the emotional brain in order to understand emotional intelligence. So explores this chapter explores the brain's emotional center. Brain's emotional center is the part called amygdala. So amygdala, its influence on emotional responses and behavior. Amygdala is responsible for all the emotional responses and the behavior. So what does the amygdala do? Amygdala processes emotions, triggering rapid reactions and influencing decision making. So, for example, we discussed yesterday that whenever we are confronted by a wild animal, or for example a tiger, our first, the amygdala processes that fear, the emotion of fear, and triggering rapid reaction is to just run away from there. So decision making is to just run away to save your life. That is also that is an example of what amygdala does. So here, the first example is flight or fight or flight response. So feeling fear when encountering a threatening situation. What you do when you feel fear, you take some action. So next example is emotional memories. So vividly you remember a past event due to its emotional impact. So if you lost someone, or if you have faced some abuse or something very emotional, due to the emotional impact of that event, you always remember that event. That past event is always registered in your brain due to the emotional impact it created in your life. So here, if we have to talk more about emotional brain, here in the emotional brain, the author explains about the amygdala hijack. We talked about a concept called the emotional hijacking yesterday. So what is emotional hijacking is, your emotions hijack, that means overpower your logical brain, and you take a impulsive, by taking a impulsive reaction. So here, to explain the concept, that means the here actually it is amygdala hijack. So what is that? The amygdala is a small almond shaped, एक बादाम जैसा होता है, that is a small almond shaped structure located deep within the brain's temporal lobe. So amygdala is, plays a crucial role in processing emotions, particularly strong ones like fear, anger, aggression, yeah, all these emotions. So when faced with a perceived threat, the amygdala can trigger the fight or flight response. So by passing the rational processing centers in the prefrontal cortex. So what happens in fear? You don't, sit and think. You don't apply your logic. Your emotions are hijacked. The amygdala is hijacked. The amygdala hijacks the emotions, because you have to run or you have to take action to save your life. So this can lead to impulsive and potentially harmful actions as well. One, in some cases, it could lead to, right decisions. If every time there is an amygdala hijack, imagine it is not such serious condition and you're emotionally hijacked. Your emotions are hijacked. The emotions hijack the logical brain. Then what happens is we react impulsively, and that could, potentially we can lead to harmful actions. So examples. So what are the examples of the, amygdala hijack? So small examples. Suppose a driver is stuck in rush hour traffic. There is a jam packed traffic, and then a driver, then he, what, because of the traffic, he starts yelling and honking their horn at other drivers. He start yelling and abusing and honking the horn at other drivers, because he or she is fueled by frustration and anger. The driver is fueled by frustration and anger. So if we apply emotional intelligence into it, we can avoid the yelling and honking their horn at other drivers, and the responses could more thought through. Here what happens is, in amygdala hijacked, the frustration and anger, hijacks the logical brain of the driver. In the same way, a student facing a difficult exam experiences with, anxiety and stress. So if a student is the paper, he's giving an exam, the exam is difficult and experiences anxiety and stress, so which impacts the ability to concentrate and perform well. So the anxiety and stress, the emotions there take over, and the student's ability to concentrate and perform well in the exam is hijacked. So the third example, likewise. So a person witnessing a violent crime may experience post-traumatic stress disorder. So if a person is seeing, is evidence for a violent crime, a person sees a crime, another person being killed or being brutally beaten or abused, this person may experience post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. This person will have, flashbacks and nightmares due to the amygdala's activation during the traumatic event. In the traumatic event, what happens is the amygdala gets activated. The amygdala hijacks the logical brain. So this person always has flashbacks and nightmares due to the amygdala's activation during the traumatic event. So then, when we are talking about amygdala hijack and emotional brain, we have to also talk about the two brains. That means we also have to talk about the rational brain and the emotional brain. So here the author proposes that we have two distinct brains, each with its own unique functions and evolutionary history. So the left brain is associated with logic, reason, language, while the right brain is responsible for emotions, creativity, and intuition. So our left brain is associated with logic, reason, and language. The analysis, the mathematics, everything we do is associated to the left brain, while the right brain is responsible for emotions, for creativity, for intuition, but these two brains are equally important and unique. So the two brains work together to process information and guide our behavior. So however, during times of intense emotion, the right brain can dominate. If there is a time of, if there is an intense emotion, the right brain can dominate, so leading to impulsive decision and a lack of rational control. When the right brain is dominant, your ability to rational thinking comes down. There will be deprivation of the ability of rational thinking. So here, for example, a writer struggling to come up with new ideas takes a break and goes for a walk, allowing the right brain, to process information more freely, which can lead to sudden burst of inspiration. So, if suppose if a writer is, has to write something new, he or she is struggling to come up with new ideas. So what they do is they take a break and goes for a walk, allowing the right brain to process information more freely. So here the writer is applying emotional intelligence. He is taking a break, he goes for a walk and allowing the right brain to process information, and the domination of the right brain comes down. And then after some time, what can happen is it can lead to a sudden burst of inspiration. When the domination of the right brain comes down, the left brain also starts functioning, so there is a sudden burst of inspiration. Similarly, a musician instinctively knows which notes to play based on their intuition and feeling. So, without having to consciously think about it. See here, the musician is using the right brain itself, the creativity thing. So, the musician knows because of the, if you remember in thinking fast and slow, we talked about expert intuition. Expert intuition is a person who is expert in that field, instinctively knows, things about them because of the experience and past work. So here also a musician instinctively knows which notes to play based on their intuition and feeling. So without having to consciously think about it. So here left brain need not to be activated because a musician is a artist. He's using his creative, creative intuition and feeling to prepare, to come up with new notes to his music. Same way, an artist creates a powerful and emotionally evocative painting, tapping into their right brain's ability to process and express emotions. Here we are, when we talk about musician and artist and all, we are talking about, creativity. So we are talking about the right brain's ability. So here the author says the right brain is equally important. It is not that it is not important, but at times we have to not let the right brain to dominate. That's it. The next concept explained in the part 1 is emotional lexicon. So, what is emotional lexicon? So, the ability to accurately identify and label our emotion is crucial for understanding and managing them effectively. So, if we have to, understand and manage our emotions, first we have to identify and label that emotions. That means here it is something like emotional vocabulary. So Goleman, the author, suggests that developing a rich emotional vocabulary allows us to do just that. So by expanding by expanding our emotional words, the dictionary of emotional words and expressions, we gain greater insight into our inner world and can communicate our feelings more clearly and more clearly to others. So this is something like emotional vocabulary or emotional dictionary, the emotional lexicon. So for example, instead of simply saying I feel bad, so a person might use more specific words like I am frustrated today, I am disappointed, or I am sad, to better understand the nuances of their emotions. So frustrated, when I say you are frustrated, you are angry, or you are disappointed, or you are sad, it doesn't mean that you react impulsively. You just recognize that you're frustrated, you understand and you process that emotion, the frustration, the disappointment, the sadness. You have to process that emotion to be able to be emotionally intelligent. So to better understand the nuances of their emotion, so you should have that. Okay, if I am frustrated, I might likely behave in this way, so the next time I have to be thoughtful when I behave. If in order to understand and manage your emotions, you have to first identify and label your emotions. So why are you behaving in this way? Because I am frustrated, because I am disappointed, because I am angry, because I am upset, because I am sad, because I am happy, because I am excited, everything. So next is, a therapist helps a client explore and identify their emotions by providing them with a list of different emotional states and their corresponding physical sensations, and behavioral cues. So here, when we talk about identifying and labeling emotions, some kinds of emotions should be, a therapist should help a client to explore and identify their emotions when they are not being able to do it by themselves. So they give them with a list of we give them with a list of different emotional states and their corresponding, physical sensation, that is the behavioral cues. So if the client says is not able to identify and label the emotion, either if he's frustrated or angry or disappointed or what. So a therapist helps him identifies and gives some list of emotional states and their behavioral cues. So how do you behave? So the next example is, a poet, for example, uses his vivid imagery and language to express complex emotions in their writing, evoking empathy and understanding in readers. So here, even a poet or a creative person, can use the imagination and language to express complex emotions in their writing. What it does is it evokes empathy and understanding in readers. If you happen to read poems and poetry, you will know that the imagination of the poet and the language itself is enough to express the complex emotions. So the next, to summarize, the part one, the emotional brain, uh, of emotional intelligence. Here we discussed about the brain's emotional center, that is amygdala, highlighting its role in shaping our responses and behavior. So here we discussed that amygdala is a key emotional center that triggers rapid responses like fear or anger or frustration, like that. So emotion and reason. So emotional impulses can override rational thinking in certain situations, so impacting decision making. So this is the part 1 of what is given in the book. So, what all it says is emotional intelligence is essential for developing our emotional literacy and taking control of our emotional responses. So, by acknowledging the powerful influence of the amygdala, recognizing the duality of our brains, left brain and right brain, so, and expanding our emotional vocabulary, that is we discussed as emotional lexicon, we can embark on the journey towards greater self-awareness and emotional intelligence. So in the next thing, in the next session, we'll discuss about what is in the part 2 of the emotional intelligence. So this we discussed part 1, the duality of the brain, uh, and whatever we recapped of the first session. So here comes an end to this today's session, and I will meet you in the next session. Thank you for staying tuned, and namaste for today. If you have any queries, and if you have any additional points or insights that you would want to add, or if you have any queries, you can ask me in the comment section. I would be happy to help. So thank you.